Hello and welcome to the Gluten Free Psychiatry Podcast. This is episode 10. I'm very excited to introduce and announce Penny Lavin with the One Light Healing Touch program as a seasoned energy healer in the field for some decades now. Welcome, Penny.
Hello, Daniel. Wonderful to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for agreeing to do this too, because your body of work for you and your husband, Ron Lavin, for your whole work for some decades now. I just want to say I appreciate someone that has dedicated their life to helping people and healing people. And the stories you have are just so awesome over the years of different kind of experiences. I have recently participated in starting your programs with the basic training. I want to repeat that. And I'm on path over the next few years to get involved with passing on this historical information where you study all these energy healing modalities for different civilizations and cultures. I mean, this is diversity training like I have never seen. And I've been required to take classes like that. But I have a richness now when I talk to clients from all over the world that I did not have before. And it's really helps break down barriers. So I'll let you introduce yourself. And thank you for being here, Penny.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Daniel. I'm so glad that you took the basic training, that you enjoyed it so much.
Mhm.
So just really briefly about me, the path in my life has always been a dual path in media and in energy healing. And what I just heard Daniel say about the body of work in One Light Healing Touch is so interesting because through the years, my husband Ron Lavin, who's a clairvoyant, clairaudient, he's been in 5 studies with the National Institutes of Health. He's a renowned healer. And I've heard so many times through the years that people say they took this course at Edgar Casey or in this other class, but it wasn't until they came to One Light Healing Touch, because it's so comprehensive, that everything made sense. Because we teach practices and many energy healing techniques, and this lecture as well. So that's it. So it's lecture, practices, and energy healing techniques. And Ron started the school in 1996, and we're very well known in Germany. We've got schools throughout Germany. And I became a teacher back in 2006, and I've been teaching ever since. But my path in my life has been with media and with energy healing. And when I was a child, when I was 11 years old, I one of my friends' father had a heart attack. He was in the hospital, and she knew I was psychic. As friends, as your best friends know things about you. She said, "Do something, do something." And so I closed my eyes, and I just began imagining color around him. I don't know why I did that, but I did. And I imagined colored around him, certain colors, and I held it with my intention, brought in the energy, saw him in the hospital room for about 10 minutes, and then I let it go. And the next day she said, "He was remarkably better. What did you do?" And then I told her. And of course, when you're a child, you have this rich world of imagination. So who knows what you're doing? You just do it. And then I described the hospital room to her, and I described it with every single detail. And then it was an aha moment to me, because I realized I had that ability to go into the other side. In the Native American tradition, because Ron and I have studied with Native Americans as well, they call this world the tonal world, and they call that other world the novel. So I knew that I had slipped into that other realm level of reality. And then I used color healing on sick animals and friends, and I loved color healing. And of course, it's one of my favorite things in One Light Healing Touch. We also teach color healing among 30 other techniques. So, just really briefly, so I did media, then I got into media and I helped launch Good Morning America, and I was with Good Morning America for a number of years. And then I was a producer director in California for a number of years. And then I left that and I started my own production company where I did documentaries. And I did a documentary, I'll hold it up. I did a documentary, and your viewers can get it on Gaia and Amazon. And it's so popular in Gaia that they have it in German, French, and Spanish. And
Wow.
when I heard that, I knew the world is waking up. It's called The Healing Field, Exploring Energy and Consciousness. So it was just such one of my, I enjoyed doing that so much. And a few years later, I did a book based on the documentary, which you can get on Amazon. the healing field, exceptional healing practices to change your life. So when I just want to briefly share, so then I did the documentary and the documentary work, and then I became a teacher in One Light Healing Touch, and then I've been teaching ever since 2006, and I love it. I have schools every year, and people join via Zoom all over the country, in Germany and England, wherever, where whoever is called to learn the work and want to experience the work, we want to teach them, we want to help them. So the question is, who is this work for? And we feel that the work is for everybody because just a really short lecture about energy. Human beings are sponges. We hold energy, we bring energy in. So the energy that we brought in from our parents becomes, we call it our core programming. So we bring in that energy. And if we've had abuse and trauma and life things, those kinds of things that happen to us in life that really affect us deeply, we hold those energies deep in our body. And what we need to do, what we know in One Light Healing Touch is we know we can help people release that energy. And we call it programming because it's not your essential self. It's energy that we bring in from others. So from abusive bosses or abusive mates or traumas in life, we bring that energy in. And when that energy is really felt deeply, we just hold it because we don't know we can release it. We don't know how to release it. We don't know we can.
Exactly.
So that's something that we really know how to teach people to release it so that they can live with their essential self, our essential self connected to our higher self, connected to the Akashic records. And so we really want to help people fulfill their purpose for being and not have all this other energy from the past, from their parents, from relationships. We not be in the way because when that energy is in the way, we don't have the freedom and creativity and psychic ability and clairvoyance. None of that is really open because we're so filled with the energy of others. And when we're really filled with a lot of energy from other people, we begin to shut down a bit and we begin to get a bit numb. And so we can go into being a workaholic or an alcoholic or a drugaholic or taking care, codependent, taking care of everybody else, everything to do with getting our energy out of our body and doing these other things outside because when we feel in our body we feel it's uncomfortable, so we move out again to all these other things, but we're not present. And we can't be present because it's too uncomfortable in here. And all we need to do is do this wonderful releasing that we have and energy healing techniques so you can get back to your essential nature and help fulfill your purpose for being, not ours. But we really believe that each person has their purpose for being in this lifetime. And that's what we want. We want their hearts to be open. We want their creativity to be open. We want to help open their psychic senses and clairvoyance so that they have other ways of being in the world, which is much more in tune and much more present. And the kind of healings that people do that have in the school, it's quite remarkable. I mean, we've had a number of women through the years who've had breast cancer, stage 4, even breast cancer. And after the course, it goes into remission. And another student had fibromyalgia, and by the third weekend, it was gone. And one lady had lymphedema, the very swollen arms after breast cancer treatments. And the doctor said they could do nothing. And then by the third weekend, it was gone. So many things just as you release the energy and each weekend is paired healings with another class partner all through the weekend. And as you experience that body of work, because it's very experiential, as you experience that, all kinds of lower energies and stuck energies and traumas and anxieties and those, they just fade away and flow away and then are able to be released. So people start feeling happier, they start feeling more creative. A number of students have then gone on to write books after the course. They start having relationships better with their kids and with their husbands or wives. They start having better relationships because that stuff that was in the way is gone and their hearts are more open.
Hmm.
So it's wonderful for people's marriages, being able to open your heart and have a deeper connection with your mate, with your partner. So, and the reason this is so helpful today is that, well, two things. One is that we have more stress today than, than almost any other time, and so many parts of our society are so filled with stress, with media, with relationships, with constantly doing, and overdoing and overdoing whatever you have to do. There's so much pressure on people. And when you have stress, and Beverly Rubik talks about this in the documentary. When you have stress, rather than the blood flow and the hormones be in their normal way, flowing through the body, they go more to the limbs, to fight or flight. So you're not really feeding the organs and the glands and everything that really needs the proper flow of energy and blood and hormones in the body. So stress has a tremendous toll. So we really want to help people learn to reduce the stress, which we do in the school. The other thing is that so many people, I'm noticing that more and more students through the years, people are getting more psychic and more intuitive. And I'm noticing that each class that comes through, people are more open and more psychic. So we want to help people develop that. Whether it's clairvoyance or clairaudience or clairsentience, whatever the clairs are, there's a few different clairs. So we want to help people to do that. Because when you have more of your clairs open, you have another way of feeling and navigating in life. So it's not so hard. When something is coming your way and you go, oh, should I do this or should I not do it? You don't just have your feelings and your mind thinking about it, but you have another level to connecting to it. Is this really right for me? So we really want to help people open those channels because it's very, very helpful for people to do that. And the third thing, of course, is that it really all the practices and techniques really help people to heal body, mind, and spirit. All those levels are deeply enhanced through the process. Now, what's coming up in, let's see, October 25th and November 16th, we have a workshop called the Day of Healing. And the offer to your listeners and your viewers is rather than 150 on the website, it would be 125. So what they have to do, yep, so they get a special offer. So what they need to do is they need to email me, Penny Lavin at Gmail. So Penny Lavin is spelled the way it is on the screen, pennylavin at gmail.com. And just say that they listened or watched your podcast, and they will get $25 off the fee. So they need to register though 10 days in advance. So the dates are October 25th and November 16th. It's the same workshop. They can come to either one. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that starting in January 16th through May, the next school is starting. It's the basic training, and it's one weekend a month for 5 months. So it's 15 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we teach 30 healing techniques and over 50 healing practices and lecture and practices and healing techniques. It really changes people's lives. So I invite any of your listeners to come to that. If they want to come to that, then if they take the Day of Healing, then there's $100 off. So the course is $3,100 and there's several discounts. And if they take the Day of Healing, it's another $100 off. And there's payment plans. There's no problem with fees if people need payment plans.
That's all right. And it's a lot of work too. It's over 5 months, 5 long weekends over 5 months. So I appreciated when I did the portion of the basic training I participated in this year because it was spaced out. It allowed time for practice. And in my Western trained mind, I'm slow to learn these things because I'm sort of really studying it. And then it's really all come together now where I can't wait to repeat the basic training class. I'm going to be promoting and reminding people that repeatedly on the podcast. Maybe I can get some of our listeners in the same class repeating with me and we can all be together. You do have other instructors, but the January date she's talking about for 2026 is where she and her husband Ron Lavin are the actual instructors. So um, I think this is a huge value if you have the opportunity to do that. You definitely don't want to miss out. Your life won't be the same.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so our school's via Zoom. We have an instructor in Georgia who she does it in person. She has a place for people to come in and stay. And we have an instructor in Utah, so I don't know when she hasn't scheduled her school yet, but it's going to be scheduled. And then there's an instructor down in Kentucky, and she's going to have a Zoom school. But my Zoom school starts January, what did I say? January 16. So it's one weekend a month for 5 months. And I'd love anybody who is interested, just email me and I'll send you a flyer. So email Penny Lavin at Gmail and I'll send you a flyer with lots of information on it. And I hope any of your listeners can join me for the Day of Healing and the next training. And we also give healing sessions, as well as Daniel is a wonderful healer. So please contact Daniel, the host here today, who has this. He's a wonderful healer. Please contact him if you want any energy healings as well.
I feel like I'm the little Padawan learner, though, and you're the Jedi, and I'm still learning at this. And I appreciate where this is going. I think in a few years from now, yes, I'm going to grow into that. It's already starting. I
Excellent.
think I've had the gift most of my life. Now, I do have a listener question, and I know someone on my mind that this fits right now. I'm trying to help a family member, and what about the person who has so much anxiety that they have trouble meditating? They really have trouble even sitting still for 5 minutes. How do you approach someone like that that's really been that way for a while? They're so stuck in that anxious energy, you can't get them to settle down. They're very ungrounded.
Sure, sure. That's a great question because so many students through the years have said, "Oh, I took different meditation classes and I couldn't get it. And it wasn't until I came to One Lay Healing Touch that I was able to get it." So, what we know, and I'll share this little secret with your viewers, what we know is that it's impossible to just sit down and meditate, pretty much, because the mind is busy and the mind loves being busy, thinking about all kinds of things. So, it's not just we're thinking our thoughts, but our thoughts are thinking us, you know? So, what you need to do before you meditate is you've got to do a practice to calm yourself down. So, you can do breath work, you can do sound work. There's a wonderful practice that we have called running energy that I'm sure you can teach the person that you know about, send them the running energy. There's a printout on running energy or guide them through it. So, you need to do a practice first to calm the whole body down.
You're so good at it.
Right. And then next step is you can practice meditating. Now, what's interesting, I learned meditating in when I lived in Los Angeles when I was an executive at 20th Century Fox Television, and it was the hardest thing I'd ever done. I sat for 4 months every single day. I learned this wonderful meditation that we teach in the school called the Knowledge. It's a Hindu meditation. Every day, without fail, I sat, and the mind would wander, 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 wander. And it was only after about 4 months that the mind learned to settle down. But we have an easier way of teaching students, which is do a practice first, calm yourself down, release whatever's in the way of the mind and the body and the emotions that are trying to get your attention and something uncomfortable in the body, feel it and let it go. Feel the thoughts in your mind, feel it and let it go. And then feel those things and let them go. And then breathe. It's really great to do 3 out breaths, long exhale, normal inhale, second long exhale, normal inhale, long exhale. So that's the shortest way of getting there. So that what that does is that is a breath technique taught to us by Jerry Epstein, who was also in the documentary. He was a dear, dear friend. And he's one of the great teachers of mental imagery in the world. He's deceased now, but his wife carries on this wonderful work. And when you breathe like that, you engage the parasympathetic nervous system. So whatever you're doing, your practices or meditation, it takes it on a deeper level. So it's always great to do that parasympathetic breath. You start with a long exhale, normal inhale, soft jaw, and let it go. So 3 breaths, and then begin to do what you're going to do.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for answering that. I think you hit the nail on the head, and you're very good at that. You can tell that experience is there, and I hope to one day grow to be that good at it like yourself. It's awesome. I think the knowledge that you're passing on, just the history of all these cultures and ancient traditions, many people have gotten away from that, from where their ancestors believed, and maybe they don't believe what their ancestors did, but we've lost a lot of the skills that were in those ceremonies, rituals, and traditions that address these different things over the years, and we can
Right.
get them back and do them ourselves.
Well, what Daniel is talking about is the body of work in One Light Healing Touch, the practices and the healing techniques. They're from different traditions, but they're also esoteric, which is Ron's connection to spirit. And there's so much that we have in One Light Healing Touch, which was given divine, but well, when he was in meditation and he got the guidance to do the running energy or the 6 positions or the Nam Ram, all those things were from his guidance. So they're esoteric. So the body of One Light Healing Touch, it's part shamanic, part holistic, and also part esoteric. So it's the combination of all those things. And we bring in Tibetan work, we bring in Native American work that we've studied with, that we got permission to be able to teach. So it's this wonderful body of work that we've lived with and we've experimented with and grown from, and we love sharing it with others.
Yeah, I will say that in this day and age, there's so much misinformation on the internet. And in fact, there's agencies and organizations that create fake news now. They've been interviewed on television. And I love the fact that the healing legacy and the traditions are somewhat kept private from the community. So they're not picked apart by these AI readers. When I look up questions about my own private practice, the internet gives false answers and wrong answers about what my own website says. And so I love that it's not drawn into that controversy. The information is protected, it's in a safe container, it's only transmitted really in the purpose of healing and learning. So you can experience a lot more healing than I feel like we're led to believe is possible out there.
Right.
Hmm.
And I wanted to just leave one thought with your viewers. Is that we used to work with everybody in person, and we loved getting our hands on folks. And then, of course, during COVID, it went via Zoom. And it turned out after COVID, many people would rather stay home and keep their slippers on and not have to travel anywhere. And then, of course, the magic is that energy healing, there's no time and space and spirit, and it works beautifully, beautifully on Zoom. Beautifully on Zoom. And of course, the 5 studies that Ron was in with the NIH were all distant healing studies. So we really know how to handle this working at a distance and healing from a distance. So if that's a thought that somebody might be feeling, then just know that it really works very, very well because you're working on the etheric body of your partner, the person that you're working on. And of course, if anybody comes to the Day of Healing workshop where I teach 3 healing techniques, you'll experience it. You'll see how easy it is, and it's fine. No problem. So get your own experience of working distant healing and come to the Day of Healing workshop. And that is October 25th or November 16th.
Perfect. We'll post those dates and the links for sign up in your email and everything online. And I think
Wonderful.
from
Yeah.
the perspective of psychiatry, a program like this addresses some of the most intense symptoms where the real human suffering really is. Things like panic attacks, trauma, even real depression, guilt. In our society and our movies talk about how hard it is to forgive yourself. I think it's just a lost skill. You get into this running energy and healing mindset. That's how you forgive yourself. It's an active daily process and it really works. Release work really works. So you don't necessarily change how you view the past, like in cognitive behavioral therapy, you're reframing all the time. Instead, you're releasing the trapped, stuck emotional energy that makes it feel 10 times worse than it has to be. It makes it feel like it's still present day.
Right.
Instead, you do the energy clearing one time on an issue. Next time you talk about it, it's shrunk down to its right size. You quickly start talking about it like it's in the past. And for me, like I say, I'm a little slow. When I do a release work on some big deal in my life, it takes me about 3 months to adapt to that being gone. That's not my story. That's not how I make decisions now. It'll quickly start changing. So I recommend people when they do this work, start journaling right away because the stuff that's on the surface right now will soon be out of the way and you'll almost forget what was bothering you, drove you in the door in the first place if you're not writing it down.
Wonderful. What I found, Daniel, is that we all have small problems, small anxieties, and huge problem, and we all have the triggers. You know, we all know big ones, little ones. And what I have found over the years that the big, big, big issue a person has over time with each healing that you do in class each weekend and the practices, each healing and we give MP3s for meditations and healing work for the students to do between the sessions so they can practice. And I found that over the course of the 5 months, that people's big issues gets really, 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 really small. And I'm not sure if it ever really goes away, but it gets really, really small. And what happens for people is that when something comes up that triggers that same issue, they then have an ability to step back to say, "Oh, I know you." I know you, and then just release it. You know, they have an ability to detach from it because they can feel they know exactly what that mechanism is and not get entangled by it, but say, oh, I know what this is, and let it go. So it's a very interesting process that I've seen over the years. So people find freedom. So many students over the years, what they said, what they have found in this work is freedom, you know, freedom to live their lives and to be happier and to create or have families or to do whatever kind of work that they want to do in the world and not be at the effect of the past, their parents, the abuse, the trauma, not be at the effect. Because if you're living at the effect, it's really hard to move forward. Really, really hard. You keep taking it with you. And if you find the ways to detach and leave it, you can move forward, you know, and have a more fulfilling life and to do what you came to do on this, you know, in this lifetime.
I agree. I've done a lot of work with veterans, and I like to share that they fight for our freedom, and then they live trapped sometimes, and they're not able to enjoy that freedom. And they do some healing work, learn how this stuff works. I feel like you go through a mind shift when you realize that you can do some of this yourself, and how that electromagnetic, the spirit, the quantum, however you view this injury that happens to humanity. It becomes painful for some. That then all of a sudden you have a new view on life, and you can go enjoy those things and be present in the moment. And for me, it's a lot of intuition. It's like all this clearing, what you might call clairvoyance, becomes like, oh, I know what to do. A thought will just come to me, and I'll see all through the fog. And when I do the energy and clearing work, then I feel like I know what I want to do with the rest of my life, what I want my energy to go into. And if I've suffered some, it actually helps me realize that that energy is not infinite. There's not an endless supply. I better be careful of what I'm going to do. I'm 53. Let's make our life count the rest of the way here, and I'll get that clairvoyance on what I want to do. That intuition that says I want to I want to share my heart and my passion with a private community group. You want to keep teaching lectures. I want to learn how to teach your lectures and become one of
Right.
your trainers to
It's
make sure
it's
that's an important
true.
thing.
It's really true, Daniel. I agree with you. And whether your listeners, whether it's anxiety or whether it's abuse that they've suffered, or whether they just feeling blocked and they want to be more creative or they want to be happier, human things. These are all human things. There's no, but we're not. No one's immune to this. So whatever that is, if what we're talking about speaks to them, I'll say my email again, pennylavin@gmail.com. Email me and I'll send you a flyer on those workshops and the next basic training. And Ron and I give sessions. The sessions are 150 for about 70 minutes. They're on Zoom. So if any of this speaks to you, please get in touch with us. And again, the workshop is October 25th or November 16th. Either day is good. But you have to register 10 days in advance to get this special offer of $25 off. So all your listeners, it would be 125 rather than 150, but you got to register 10 days in advance. And we have PayPal and Venmo. It's all explained in the flyer. So whatever's easier for people is fine.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Penny, for your time and your body of work. And say a special hi and thanks to Ron also.
Oh, thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you.
We love you. You have tons of fans. Keep up the good
Thank
work.
you. Thank you so much. You too. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.